what's left is very little. We have very little to go, very little. Matter of fact, I'm going to start out with a little game here. I wish I'd had another day. If I would have had one more day, we'd have played a couple games. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the board, and it's going to be a polyatomic ion. See how quickly you can come up with a name. Okay? Are you ready? Look up here. See, are you ready? Go. Oh. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, you know what? Before I get started, you know that I've only had a total of 4 people turn in this assignment. What happened there? Okay, so it's your job, isn't it? If it was due, and I said, well, you could turn it in another day, but isn't it your job to give it to me? Am I supposed to go track you down? Is that right? I don't track you down. You have to give it to me, don't you? Okay, I'll take it. But what I'm saying is, when were you going to give that to me? Like, when are you going to give that to me? Today? Okay, that's what I was thinking. So if you spend the time doing that, don't you want to turn it in?
I did it, but it's very wrong.
Whoa, okay. Now, so what happened is, maybe you didn't know all the charges. How about that?
Probably.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so here we go. Oh, hang it. Get rid of that. I don't want that anymore. Get out of here, get out of here. That one here, and out. That's an email. Okay, here we go. All right. What do you think? All right, now chlorate is ClO3. So this is what? Chlorite. It's a hard one. It has chromium in it. Chromate. Careful. Sulfate is SO4. So what's this one? Sulfite. This is a hard. Did I have you do this one or not? Okay. I hate this one because there's nothing in there that reminds me of the name. Anybody know this one? Oxalate. I won't put that on the test. I might put extra credit, but I don't use that. Uh-oh. Nitrate is NO3. Nitrite. Chlorate. This is one of the bad names. Bad names. Cyanide. This is pretty common polyatomic ion. Carbonate. Uh-oh, hard one. Chlorate is ClO3. You add an oxygen, right? Perchlorate. Phosphate? Phosphate. Nitrate. Uh-oh, look out. Not phosphate, but what? Hydrogen phosphate. Isn't that right? Oh, what's that? Hydrogen sulfate. Bad name. Hydroxide. This is a bonus. This was extra credit. I think I crossed this one out for you guys. It has silicon in it. Anybody know that one? Silicate. Ooh, this has manganese in it. I wish there was a manganate, but it's permanganate, right? Oh well. Uh-oh, what's that? Uh-oh. Dihydrogen phosphate. Hydrogen sulfite. Hydrogen sulfite. Uh-oh. 2, 3, 2. Acetate. Okay. Uh-oh. That's a hard one. It's even less oxygen than chlorite. Hypochlorite. Phosphite. The only polyatomic that you write first because it's positive. Ammonium. I want to tell you, you don't have to remember this for a test, but another name for this is called bicarbonate. If you go home and find a box of baking soda, it'll say contains sodium bicarbonate. Well, that's sodium hydrogen carbonate. Okay? And this one has 2 chromiums in it. Dichromate. Okay. What do you think? All right. So I need your attention. I'm going to review acids again. And it's possible that if you want to put something like this on your index card, what if I gave you both sides? Would that be better? Now, will you still study? I'm afraid you put stuff on the index card, you'll think, oh, I don't have to study that. You need to study it. And you have your homework. You've been working on your homework assignment? You should. Gave it to you like a long time ago, right? All right, here we go. How do you know if something's an acid? Well, when you look at it, if you look at the formula, it starts with a hydrogen. It starts with hydrogen, like here's one, and here's another one. And so if it starts with hydrogen, it's an acid. This is the only exceptions I know of. That's water, H2O, and hydrogen peroxide, H2O2. Okay? That's the only two things I know of that start with hydrogen. They're not acids. So here's my brain. In my brain, I say, ding, 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 you're an acid. Then my brain says this. If you're an acid and you do not have oxygen in you, then here's my model. I use this as my model. And if I can name that, I can name any of these. Okay, if you have no oxygen, you will say hydro, you will end in ic. Are you with me? Now what goes in the middle? See that element called chlorine? We say chloric. Okay, what about this guy? Hydrobromic acid. What's this one? Hydrofluoric acid. This one? Hydroiodic acid. So if I were going to do your homework, let's say, well, I'm a little bit behind on my homework. Oh, there's a sheet. Look at this sheet here. Look at that sheet right there. This says HNO3. So let's take a look. Hey, look. No oxygen. What are you going to call that real quickly? Hydrochloric acid. Find another one like, hydrobromic. Hydro. And they could have said sulfate, but they decided to say sulfuric. Hydrosulfuric acid. Hey, I got those. I think I got those down. Now, let's go to the other side. Here's your brain. What if you're an acid and there is oxygen? I got some good news for you. If it's got oxygen in an acid, it's got a polyatomic ion that has oxygen in it. And that's why you had to know your polyatomic ions, right? Now, look at these two here. These are my two models here. Do you know the name of that? If you know that's nitrate, see that? He becomes a plain old nitric. No, I only use hydro when you don't have oxygen. If you have oxygen, I don't use hydro. Get it? So if you have the famous nitrate in you, you can become the famous nitric acid. And what about this guy? What's his name? What's NO2's name? It's not nitrate. Nitrite, isn't it? And so if you into nitrite, you become the lesser known nitrous acid. If you'll just remember this and these two, you'll know how to name almost every acid. Now, you could use that other memory trick we had. This guy has 3 oxygens in it. This has 2. Who's the big, icky acid? This guy. So he's the big, icky acid. See that? Now, watch right here. Let's go down the row. I don't know. Let's start here. Daniel, what are you going to call this guy?
Just a question.
Yeah.
So, like, for chlorate, how would you do that? Because since it's 4.
Chlorate?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to do that next. Let me do these, and I'm going to do the whole chlorate series. Okay, watch. Ready? Yeah. What are you going to call this guy? Say, hey, it's an acid. Ding, ding, ding. Hey, it's got oxygen. And what's the name of that guy right there?
Sulfuric acid.
So this is sulfate, so it'd be sulfuric acid. Okay. All right, Kyle, next one. You're an acid. What is it? Yes. Sulfurous acid. Okay, back up here. Julia. The famous phosphate. Phosphoric acid. Okay, Zach. Phosphorus. Okay, back up here. Delaney. That's carbonate, so it becomes what? Carbonic. carbonic acid. And how about this one? What do you think about that one, man? Do you know what this guy's name is? It's a polyatomic ion. His name is, I remember the first time I learned it when I was your age, I giggled a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So maybe you guys are more grown up than I was, probably. Okay. Wait, wait. So this is acetate. So what's the name of the acid?
I have no idea.
If it ends in 8, then it becomes the ic acid. This is called acetate, so it becomes acetic acid. If you go home and you get a bottle of vinegar and you look at it, it'll say in the ingredients, contains 5% acetic acid. Now, what's the other 95% in vinegar? What are you paying for? 95% of what you pay for in a bottle of vinegar is water. It's 95% water. It's only 5% acid. But that 5% acid is enough to make your tongue tingle. So we put it on, Italian dressing has it, mustard has it, taco sauce has it, ketchup has it, pickle juice has it. A little tingle, right? People like that little tingle. That's why they put a vinegar in it. All right, yes.
So it's always gonna be like, if it ends in I, it's always gonna be a less.
If the polyatomic ends in 8, it's always going to be the ic acid. If the polyatomic ends in ite, it'll be the us acid. Now, great question, Daniel. Let's take a look. Now, watch right here. I'm going to show you the entire chlorate series. Watch now. I start with this guy. Does everybody know chlorate? All right. Now, what's chlorite? I know you're tired. You got to stay with me, okay? If that's chlorate, what's chlorite going to be? Don't you always take away a what? Uh-oh. This is sulfate. I took away an oxygen, made sulfite, didn't I? Chlorate. What's chlorite? Okay, still -1 charge, right? Let's take away another oxygen. Hypochlorite. It still ends in ite, didn't it? And then what about add an oxygen? ClO4, perchlorate. Did it end in 8? Okay, now we're going to make these into acids, right? These are all -1s, so how many hydrogens would you need to make it add up to 0? So did you notice that this acid had 2 hydrogens? You know why? Because sulfate's -2, and each hydrogen's +1. That's why you needed 2. And why don't you use 1 there? Because nitrate's -1. That's -1. I only need 1 hydrogen. Get it? How about way over here? Why do you put H2S? Well, what's sulfur on the periodic table? Look at it. What's sulfur? That's -2. Well, no wonder you had to have 2 hydrogens on that. So now, how many hydrogens do I need to add to these to make them add up to 0? Everybody in the room should know it. Everybody in the room. How many hydrogens will make this into a compound? 1. +1, -1. +1, -1. +1. Now we have to name it. All right, got to name it. Ready? Let's do the easy one. Oh, you're the famous chlorate. So what's the acid going to be called? Remember the model. If you end in 8, what do you become? You can do this. It's not that hard. Look, if the polyatomic end in 8, it becomes the what? Ic. So what is it? That's it. Chloric. What? That's it? That's it. How about this guy right here? What was his name again? What was the name of that polyatomic ion? Perchlor what? 8? Did you say 8? Okay, then you become the perchlor. What is it? Ic. If you end in 8, the acid ends in ic. Perchloric acid. Oh, what about this guy? What's he called? What's this guy called? Ite. Oh, you ended in ite. So you have to be the what? Chlorus acid. And what about this guy? Hypo what? Hypochlor what? Hypochlorite? Okay, then you must be the hypochlor what? Acid. Now, just a little bit of practice on that. You should be able, right now, you should be able to finish that page right there, okay? All right, let's take 2 minutes. Let's take about 2 minutes. See if you can do all these, and then go down here and see if you can reverse your brain and do that, okay? Now, if your brain's working today, you'll see a pattern. You'll say, hey, I think I'll do all the ones that have no oxygen in it. I think I'll do those 3 first, and then look, see that hydro? I think I'll do those. Yeah, I think I'll do those 3 because they're all the ones that no oxygen in them. I can do that. The more I reinforce that, I'm going to get that down. Let's try it. Why don't you try just these 6? Why don't you just try those 6 and see what happens? All right, ready? Sierra, let's go. What are you going to call that one, Sierra? There's no oxygen in it. You have to start with the word hydro. Hydrochloric acid. Next, Layla. This one. It's no oxygen. You have to start with hydro. You have to end in ick. Yes. Back up to Daniel. Daniel, you have to start with hydro. You have to end in ick. Yes.
I think I'm using
Oh, okay. Okay, what do you got on this, Daniel?
Hydrosulfuric acid.
All right, you sure you can't find it? I thought I saw you. Okay.
yeah, I showed it to you like before Greg.
You did what?
Or I guess it was after we came back from Greg.
Okay, I'll tell you what. If you'll do the next one, and Zach, you do. So Kyle's gonna do that one. Zach's gonna do that one, and then we'll skip you for right now. Okay? Can you do this one or not? Hydrosulfuric. Can you do it? Let me see if I can find you a packet. You need the lesson packet or the homework packet?
No,
Homework packet? I have the lesson packet. All right. I'll tell you, I'm gonna have you come after school because it's gonna take me about 3 or 4 minutes to find it. Sorry. But, I'm glad you realized that because if it's due to tomorrow, that's a lot of work to do in one day. All right, Kyle, what do you got on this one right here? Okay, so we know it starts with H, and we said hydro, so it has no oxygen. What's the other element in here? Now, wait a minute. Hydro means there's no oxygen. So I do have hydrogen. What's the other element? Element, not polyatomic ion. What's the other element? Chlorine. Chlorine on the periodic table is -1. What's hydrogen? We're done. Okay. See, when you're talking about chloric acid, that's one that has chlorate in it. This is hydrochloric acid. Okay, next. All right, Zach, what you got for this one? Okay, so it's hydro, so that means there's no oxygen, and the other element's fluorine. Fluorine is -1 on the periodic table. There's that one. And you want to try this one, Julia? Hydro, H, and what? Okay, so now are we done or not? So you look on the periodic table. What's the charge of sulfur in a compound? Find S. -2, but hydrogen's +1. So what do you have to do? How do you make this into have a net charge of 0? We've been doing this for days. How do you make this add up to 0?
Yeah, I'll make it 2.
Yeah, see that? Everybody got that? Okay, anyway, I think if you were to practice this sheet here, that would help you a great deal with acids. I want to show you what they call type 5, and you might be saying to yourself, well, I don't know if I really got the acids down completely. You can study that. You can even put some on an index card if you want. But I'm going to show you type 5, and let me see if I can find my lesson packet. Oops. Oh, I had it. Here it is. You might say to yourself, well, why are you teaching me something brand new? You know why? Because this takes, honestly, I'm going to be very honest with you. In less than 3 minutes, I can teach you type 5 in less than 3 minutes. And I'll go around the room, and almost everybody will get them right. Okay, that's how easy type 5 is. Okay, so let's look over here on your packet. Now, here's the one thing that I fear the most. I fear, you know why I left this to the end? Because this is the only time this is used. This type of a system is only used for non-metal. It has to be a non-metal and a compound with a non-metal. And I know we've done this many times. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. All right, see a little stair step there? Okay, see it? Okay, these are metal. These are metals. Now let's throw hydrogen over here, and that's the only non-metals right there. I get it? So if you see a compound that has a non-metal and a non-metal, this is the only time you look at subscripts. And I can teach this. You can put me on the clock and say, start, and in less than 3 minutes, I'll show you how to do these. I fear, though, that you're going to want to use this method for all the other. Don't do that. Don't do that. The only time I use this method, the easiest method, is 2 non-metals. All right, you ready? Here we go. I'm going to write some compounds that have 2 non-metals in them, okay? Are you ready? Put me on the clock. Ready? Say start. Let's start. Ready? When you have 2 non-metals, they don't form ionic bonds, they form covalent bonds, okay? So this is called molecular or covalent bonds. So if you have 2 non-metals compound, you have to name them a certain way, and here's how you do it. You will look at the subscripts, and you'll see there's 1 carbon here and 2 oxygens, right? And we're going to use these prefixes. This is the only time I use prefixes and I look at subscripts, all right? Now, mono, if I go to Disney World, that train runs on 1 track. That's why it's called a monorail. And di has 2 letters, and di means 2 in chemistry. And my tricycle had 3 wheels. That's why tri means 3. And tetra, there's a game called Tetris. Every time these blocks come down, there are 4 blocks, aren't there? Tetra means 4. And in geometry class, a pentagon had how many sides? 5. It's a pentagon, isn't it? And hex sounds like 6, doesn't it? Hex, 6. That's hexes. Hex is 6. Hepta is 7. Octa is 8. Octopus has 8. Stop sign has 8 sides. And if I know these, and one more thing, I never use the word mono for the first element, but I would on the second. Let me show you how to do this. Ready? Carbon. Don't say mono for the first element. Carbon, how many oxygens you see? 2. And since it's binary, you have to end in IDE. Here we go. Carbon dioxide. What's this one? Carbon, and we could say monoxide, but chemists said, hey, I'm a human. I don't want to say monoxide. What are they going to say? Carbon. Don't you have these in your house? Carbon monoxide detectors? So they say, instead of carbon monoxide, carbon monoxide. Well, that sounds good. What's this one? Say it. Say it. Nitrogen monoxide. How about this guy? Uh-oh. How many nitrogens? Dinitrogen trioxide. What? What's this guy? Sulfur dioxide. What's this one? Sulfur trioxide. Now, Let me show you how tricky I can get. Which one of these is a compound? Here's a great question for a test. What do you call a group of atoms that are bonded together whose net charge is 0? What do you call a bunch of atoms that are bonded together whose net charge is 0? Oh, man. Really? It's called a compound. It's called a compound, isn't it? What do you call a group of atoms that are bonded together whose net charge is not 0? I can't call you a compound because you have a charge of -2. What's this guy's name? I am a compound. 2 nonmetals, sulfur trioxide. What about me? No, you're not a compound. You must be a what? Let's see if I got money. Wait a minute. See if I have money. All right. What do you call a group of atoms bonded together whose net charge is 0? You call it a compound. What do you call a group of atoms that bonded together whose net charge is not 0? What do you think? What is it? What is it? I'll give you one more chance. What? No, it's in general. What do you think?
Is it an ionic compound?
What is it?
Is it like an ionic compound?
No, compound has a net charge of 0. What do you think?
Atoms?
Atoms have a net charge of 0. What do you call a group of atoms that are bonded together, but whose net charge is not 0?
Element.
What?
Element.
No, they're 0. I'll point to one. Here's one there. There's a group of atoms whose net charge is not 0. What do you call it? I'll do another one. Can we do another one? I'll do another one. There's another group of atoms whose net charge is not 0. Anybody? Last chance. Come on, raise your hand. What do you got?
Polyatomic.
There you go. Polyatomic ion. Polyatomic ion. There you go. All right. Now, I'm going to prove to you that the only thing I don't like about type 5 is because you think that's the way you name every compound. No, 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 no. Okay, so I'm going to show you a whole page of these, and we're going to go right down the room, and I don't know how fast you can write. I don't know how fast you can write. We're going to get the entire page done before you leave today, okay? And I'm going to give you an index card, too. All right, ready? Let's start with Sierra, and just say the name of this compound. Remember, you don't use mono for the first element, but you do for the second. What do you call this guy? Carbon dioxide. Go. Carbon monoxide. Next, go. Yes, sulfur dioxide. Go. Sulfur. How many oxygens? What's the prefix that means 3? That's it. Sulfur trioxide. Next. Dinitrogen. Only one oxygen. You don't use mono for the first element. Dinitrogen monoxide. Go. Nitrogen monoxide. Go. Daniel.
Oh, nitrogen
Dinitrogen.
dinitrogen trioxide.
Yes. Go. Yes. Go. Back up to Sierra. Go. Dinitrogen. And they could say tetraoxide, but they decided to say tetroxide. All right, let's go. Pentaoxide becomes pentoxide. Yes, go. PCl3. Not potassium, that's phosphorus. Trichloride. All binaries in an IDE. Go. There's a big building in Washington that has 5 sides in it. That's where all the generals are. Pentachloride. Go. Trihydride. Okay, next. That's it. Go.
diphosphorus pentoxide.
Yeah, pentoxide, yes, go. Yes, go. That's silicon. Yes, go.
Carbon disulfide.
Yes, go. Yes. And the last one, PBR3. May. Yes. And all binaries end in what? IDE. So phosphorus what? Yes. Now, what bothers me a little bit, this is easy, wasn't it? I hope you do not do this. Do not tomorrow say don't do that. When is the only time you use prefixes? It's when it's two non-metals. Isn't this a metal? Remember that? We're taking a lot of time on type 1, type 2, type 3. This isn't always metal, isn't it? As a matter of fact, I don't look at the subscripts. Aluminum oxide. So, my own opinion, if you go over your homework sheet tonight and fill out your homework, and that's practice, you could be in pretty good shape. But I'm going to let you have an index card, and what we do is I'll let you write on the front and the back. Has to be handwritten, and that should give you a little bit of advantage. Okay? In fact, I think when you make your index card, it's gonna study by just making your index card. It has to be this size, so don't come tomorrow with a jumbo index card, okay? I know you guys are tired, right? Last period of the day, is that correct? Yeah. That's okay, you did all right. Yeah, don't do it. Hey, any pages that I duplicate, that was my fault, but I didn't want to waste all that paper. So if you see a paper that on your homework that's identical, don't do it twice, please. Please, you guys are smart. All right, so what do you think? What do you think? There's a lot here, isn't there? So I think by the time you make your index card and summarize some of this stuff, some of you might want to write some of your polyatomic ions here. You might. I just can't remember those 6. Okay? And then here's what I would put a good example of type 1, type 2, type 3, and an acid. I give one whole page would just be a good example of every type. And be careful, you gotta go both ways. What if I give you the name? You have to write the formula. That's harder. What if I give you the formula, they come with a name? Get that?
Attention, the students, please listen up for a quick announcement. The boys' gold basketball team needs to meet in front of Founders Hall to get their uniforms at 3:15. The boys' gold basketball team is getting their uniforms at 3:15 in front of Founders Hall. Student drivers are now dismissed. Thank you.
How you went this far
That one right there.
and didn't have a homework sheet?
So that one next to C.
Actually, should you?
Where it's like on the third row, yeah.
I have one in conscious because I thought it was cool.
Okay. You might have showed it to me, because I didn't prove it. I would not have taken it from you, I know that.
4 on that thing.
I have a bunch of these. My extras. How certain are you that you won't be able to find it? Is there any way there could be,
I did one of those.
if there's something I just made this week that is easy to find?
I don't This is that map, but I need to review anyways, so. It is what it is.
I'm hoping that I have.
Oh, nah. I just need to.
We literally all we have is start for this and map. And some of that sheet is.
Not that I can't find my original, I could go print the, I could print the one, but, I'll tell you what I do, I'll tell you what I will do, I'll give you mine, I'll give
Like
you
the
my
reason
road.
why I had to come, like all those like
And
early
then-
release dates we had always.
You don't need that one.
No, I have my original, but this is one that has a lot of the answers already written on it.
Okay.
But-
Well, I did the whole packet, I just.
Okay, you can have, you just have that, and if I wrote on there, you don't have to do them, and, because, man, you already got your work cut out for you if you haven't been working on these, so. I would work on the index card first, and say, what is it that would help me more than anything else? And I think an example of every one, type 1, 2, 3, that would help. And then, if you wanna write down anything else, you can do that.
Okay.
And you get super nervous and something wrong. And every time we perform, she always stares over your head like this.
Did you get our project?
Yeah.
Addition that?
Yeah, that was a nice, cover. You do the cover?
Yeah, I just copied and pasted it and then added some arrows, saying what date, and that's it.
That's a nice efficient cover to have.
Thank you.
You can go if you want to, okay? I'm sure they're gonna be here very soon.
Yeah, they usually come early.
You too, bye. You don't have to watch the end of this.